On today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Diablo, Lord of Terror. Features over 25 points of articulation. This absolutely gorgeous figure comes to us from the folks over at NECA Toys. It is recommended for ages 17 and up. It does have a warning choking hazard as small parts are not recommended for ages under 3. Diablo, actually, I think NECA Toys has produced several different Diablo figures, but the Lord of Terror really impressed me. Just for the sheer scope and the coloring that they put into him. Definitely made him a figure that I wanted to pick up. On the back of the package, your read-up says, since 1996, a name has been whispered, the name of the living nightmare that even demons dread. The terror that can never die, that name is Diablo. The namesake of Blizzard Entertainment best-selling action RPG series, and now a deluxe action figure from NECA. You can head over to Blizzard Entertainment's website, but be also sure to check out NECAOnline.com. You can see not only this piece, but some of the other incredible pieces that NECA are producing. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at Diablo's Lord of Terror. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. When you get the Lord of Terror out of packaging, the one thing that comes included is a display stand. I would say it's very crucial that they did include a display stand with the Lord of Terror because unfortunately it has a tough time standing. It likely due to the fact that it has all this extra stuff on the top there. Some beautiful sculpting, but it does make the figure a little more prone to being top heavy. So the fact that you do get a display stand is very, very crucial. Also, for that matter, you get yourself, look at the length of this tail. It is, from what I can gather, yes, it is a wire-framed tail, so you do get some posability out of it. But, I mean, again, look how tall the tail is versus the figure. The tail is as equally long as the figure is tall. You can take the back section of the tail. There's a little, well, actually, it's interesting enough. It tells you exactly which way it goes because the shape of it is kind of like an L shape. So you can take that and just peg it into the back. But I guess really realistically, you can line up the scales on the back, section of the figure, and it'll tell you also, well, okay, well, I'm going to keep the scales up. And there you have this figure that, I mean, look how long this figure is when you start factoring in the tail. I mean, thank goodness, again, that tail is wireframe, because what I might end up doing, I might actually try to twist that tail around. It'll show amazingly when I have it on display, but twist this tail around and have a little more of a dynamic effect to it. Gotta make sure you really peg that tail into place, though, and you have something that looks like that. I mean, that's a great looking piece. The figure itself absolutely shines in sculpt and detailing. Look at all the red, the colors of the orange, the yellow, all separate washes over top of one another. It gives a real level of depth to the figure's skin, especially when you really start factoring in like the arm area here, where you can see that probably the main color was like a black, and then they put a couple of different washes over top, a dark gray, like a dark red, a darker yellow. I mean, layer after layer. This area here kind of looks like a real flesh color, a really perfect looking coloring. But when you start getting into like the vibrant area of the torso, especially as it gravitates closer to the middle chest area here, where the light area is emitting like a really bright yellow, it looks so cool. Also, I really like, I'll just move the arms out of the way here. I like that there's so much articulation in the figure too, and you'd be generally surprised how much articulation this figure actually has. I'll show you that in a second. But like even the areas, the little side heads here, well, I don't know if you want to call it heads, but little side faced shoulder areas here actually do even have their own articulation. They are on a little pin there, a little ball socket pin that allows them to independently move. And again, it looks so very cool. When you look at the actual head, the head, again, mostly comprised of black with that darker red over top of it, bright yellow in the eyes, bright in the nose there as well. And as you can see, the mouth does actually open too. And I guess really for me, the question would be whether I'd want the mouth open or closed. I kind of like the mouth a little bit open. It really gives it that feral, angry look on the face. I love it. Further inspection on the figure, you can see the main meat and potatoes would be on the back of the figure itself. These huge projectiles coming out from the back area here and coming out to like a bladed point. Smaller in the inside there where they're more or less just protrusions or extrusions, I guess. But like this section right here, look at the detailing on this area here. Not only is it just straight black, but all those areas, the individual gill slotted areas are all that red, looking as if it's pulsating a color underneath, like pulsating like a fire underneath. The tail has the nice inclusion of that red as well. He's got the red on the back sides of his legs, and also a bright orange and yellow combination on the legs. Like, my favorite parts, surprisingly, of the figure are like this area right here, because there's so much different paint that they've included on there. Again, it's such a great piece. In the way of articulation, the Lord of Terror does have a ball jointed in the head. And you'd be surprised, again, how much that head moves, despite the fact that this crest takes up so much of the space. Now, it is slightly limited right at around there to get the head to move further back, but it does still move quite easily. As we already discussed, the mouth does open. Yum, yum, yum. When you start getting to the side heads here, they independently move too. Shoulders are on a pin and socket. They rotate. Rotates in the forearm, bends also in the elbow, bends in the hands, so you can get some really neat poses there as well. The smaller arms are also on ball joints. They move. Hinge in the elbows, and slight rotation also in the forearm too. And then when you get to the torso, this whole torso section right here is on a very easy to move ball joint. So between that, getting the head kind of slightly up, having the mouth open, kind of the arms extended. I mean, that's a great way to display that figure. When you get to the lower legs are on ball hinge sockets, little ball joint sockets there. The knees bend very easily, the bend at the knee there. Rotation in the lower leg, bend at the secondary joint, kind of like what you, kind of like the Lord of Darkness. And I say Lord of Darkness, but like the one from Legend, kind of reminds me of that. Bend here, and a bend and rotation via a ball hinge joint in the ankle area as well. I mean, this is the kind of figure, and Spots actually just finished reviewing the BioShock mechanized Patriot. That concept figure was phenomenal. And really the point that I love about NECA 2 is it's not, if you don't play Diablo, which truth be told, Spot really, I think I played Diablo once or twice, but truth be told, if you don't play Diablo, you can still love a figure like this. The level of paint, detail, and quality that they put into the piece really makes this figure shine. It's definitely a case, though, this figure needed a display base. The tail helps, but I think by having the movability in the legs here, it's, I think, crucial to have a display base, at least, if anything, on one of the legs. It kind of keeps the figure stable enough, and it allows you then to, manipulate and pose the figure any which way that you want. Super happy with this figure, super happy. I'm going to give the Lord of Terror, dun dun dun, I'm going to give the Lord of Terror a 9.5. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the NECA Toys Diablo Lord of Terror action figure. Don't be going anywhere, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.